When Naofumi first arrived in that world, nobody believed in him. In fact, most people saw him as the weakest hero of them all. The shield hero. The one who couldn't attack. The one who seemed far behind the other three heroes. And for a long time, that impression seemed completely justified. Because while the others gained fame, received support, and accumulated resources, Naofumi was simply trying to survive. But there's something interesting when we look at the story today. Because many fans no longer debate which hero is the strongest. The discussion has changed. Now the real question is different. How did Naofumi manage to surpass all of them? And the most interesting part? The answer isn't just power. In fact, his greatest advantage came from what once appeared to be his biggest weakness. At the beginning of the story, the other heroes had everything. Knowledge, prestige, confidence, and above all, they believed they understood that world. That was their first mistake. Because they treated everything like a game. As if the rules were exactly the same as the ones they knew before being summoned. And because of that, they made decisions based on assumptions that weren't always correct. Meanwhile, Naofumi never had that luxury. He was betrayed almost immediately, lost trust in nearly everyone, and was forced to learn the hard way. By observing, failing, and adapting. Without even realizing it, he began developing something the other heroes never truly had. Real experience. That may sound simple, but it changes everything. Because while the others relied on old knowledge, Naofumi learned directly from the world around him. And that created a massive gap between them. But there's another detail that's even more important. The other heroes always had someone solving problems for them. Nobles, soldiers, adventurers, allies. Naofumi, on the other hand, almost always had to find solutions on his own. And that transformed him in ways nobody expected. Because he stopped being just a hero. He became a leader. Someone capable of protecting others. Someone capable of making difficult decisions. And the further the story progresses, the more obvious that difference becomes. Because eventually, strength stops being the most important factor. What truly matters is who can handle the reality of that world. And in that regard, Naofumi begins standing above the others more and more. There's also a factor many fans overlook. The other heroes grew up expecting recognition. Naofumi grew up expecting problems. It may sound like a small difference in mindset, but it changes everything. Because when a crisis appears, Naofumi doesn't freeze. He already expects things to go wrong. He expects obstacles. He expects difficulties. And because of that, he reacts faster than the others. But perhaps the biggest difference lies somewhere even deeper. People. Because the other heroes gained followers. Naofumi earned trust. And there's a huge difference between those two things. Raphtalia doesn't follow Naofumi because he's a hero. Philo doesn't stay by his side out of obligation. His allies don't support him simply because he's powerful. They believe in him. They believe in his decisions. They believe in his leadership. And that creates something incredibly powerful. Because the stronger his companions become, the stronger his influence grows. And that's an advantage no status screen can measure. But there's something even more interesting. Throughout the story, many characters change. Yet very few change as much as Naofumi. The distrustful young man who first arrived in the kingdom barely exists anymore. In his place stands someone capable of carrying responsibilities that the other heroes don't even fully understand. And that completely changes the comparison. Because now we're not just talking about combat. We're talking about maturity, experience, adaptability, leadership. And when all those factors are combined, one conclusion begins to emerge. Maybe Naofumi didn't surpass the other heroes simply because he became stronger. Maybe he surpassed them because he grew in ways they never could. And that brings us to the real answer. Why has Naofumi already surpassed all the other heroes? Because while they were trying to become more powerful heroes, Naofumi became something much rarer. A true hero. Someone who understands the weight of his choices. Someone who learns from his mistakes. Someone who keeps moving forward even when the entire world seems against him. And perhaps that's exactly why his evolution feels so different from everyone else's. Because his greatest strength was never the shield. It was everything he had to become in order to carry it. And what do you think? Has Naofumi truly surpassed all the other heroes? Or is there still someone capable of catching up to him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.